Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back, everybody. Woo alert. I'm saying it right now. This is going to get a little woo-woo, but it is potentially going to answer some questions that may have been on your mind or weighing heavy on your heart. And basically, we're going to talk about animals. We all love animals. They're part of the family. We're so connected to them. What about animals in past lives? And do they come back in another form? I don't have those answers. I have a little bit of evidence, but we're going to start there with an animal communicator. She's been doing this for decades. Got to be honest, she's got experience. She does connect with animals. I've seen it. I've witnessed it. And we're going to dig into this today with Kate Solisti, who's on the program. How you doing today?
Hey, Steve. Great to be with you.
I don't even know where to begin. I mean, this started because I was telling you a story before we got on here, and then that just turned into, we should talk about this. So I had a past life regression session with someone last week, and an animal showed up. And side note, there was a horse that was in a field where I was on vacation, and it wasn't being taken care of. It was just breaking my heart, and I was just not having it. I was going over there multiple times during the day. I would feed it, I would give it water, I would take care of it, I would free it from its rope that was all tangled up and everything. And then I do this past life regression, and it turns out in this life, apparently, I was a farmer with a horse. Now, I try to look at this and I'm like, all right, well, I'm hanging out with a horse, and then all of a sudden a horse shows up in the past life regression. What are the chances of that? But there was other things that happened in this regression. Like I had a wife. I didn't see her in it, and I couldn't figure out why. And then it hit me like hard. She passed away. And it was very emotional. So I tend to believe it was real because I wouldn't be feeling this emotion. And there was other things that came up. But there was also that horse. I sold that house and took that horse and went someplace else. And then there was another, part of that life with another wife, and et cetera, et cetera. Are there horses in past lives? Like, enlighten us, tell us. This is what I got. This is the evidence I have, but you're the expert.
Oh, that's really a lovely story. And it is fascinating because I learned a lot about reincarnation from animals. I was raised Episcopalian in New Jersey. What did I know of reincarnation? And but I started to, when I was doing sessions with people and their beloved pets, the animals would show me lifetimes with that person. And I began to see that many of our animals reincarnate with us over and over. And what's important about that is not only do they do that, Steve, but they often know more about our essential nature and our lifetime mission this time around than we are aware of. And they often do things to push us back on track because they know us so well, and they were with us before. They're here now to help us. And many of them come at a very specific time where we're struggling. They return and they help us through that rough moment and again get us back on our path or back, from out of a very difficult place. So this whole past life thing, and many people believe that we reincarnate with human family members. Sometimes that's to work things out that we haven't worked out, and other times it's just because we love them and we continue to incarnate as family together. So I have learned about that from the animals sharing these stories about, their past lives and showing me very, very clear pictures, as well as sometimes, I have one with a horse, so I can share that too. But so yes, this is something that I believe many of us as animal communicators experience.
I want to validate what you're saying because I experienced it. And I might have shared this in pieces with you in the very beginning when we've been getting together here, but it was 3 years ago where, well, let me rewind. It was 2019 that my cat Maestro passed away. Orange Tabby, just, I rescued him. He was in a cage for a year. It's horrible. And he turned out to be just a mushy, sweet, wonderful cat. he passed. Now that was 19. Fast forward to 3 years ago, I adopted another orange tabby. I got this cat because there was some changes in my life, and my daughter was struggling. I got it to help us. To be very honest with you, I got that cat to help us. It's Maestro. I'm not even kidding. This cat's name is Rocco. This cat is even more loving, more empathetic, more connected than even Maestro. And I am thoroughly convinced that just what you said, that Maestro either is back or sent this cat. I don't know what it is, but I can walk in at any time and he jumps up on the counter and all he wants to do is kiss you, nuzzle you. He even goes like this. He's like, please, please.
Oh,
And I just go up to him and he's like, he's
oh.
the sweetest thing. And he made an impact in a big way. And he, just what you said, showed up when he needed to show up. Guess what? A month or two after that, adopted another one who's somewhat mushy, but not the same, but just as sweet. And they're pals and they hang out all together. But spot on, just what you said. I experienced it.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And, those of us who have a great deal of love and empathy with animals, our animals can make themselves known like that. He's Maestro 2.0, right?
Yeah.
He's, but it is very common that when they do come back, that they are more of what they were. Again, depending upon what the family needs, and clearly that's what you and your daughter needed, that just unconditional love from an orange fur guy. And so he knew exactly what was needed. And it's likely that yes, he was Maestro and he may have been other kitties in your lifetimes, your daughters as well before. And that's that beauty of that family connection. And because people often ask me, well, after they've passed on, where do they go and are they going to go be born to somebody else? And sometimes they want to stay in spirit for a while, especially if they've had a really
Mm,
tough life or the person, it's just been a rough time. Sometimes they need to take a break.
wow.
But they will often say, well, I'm not coming back right away, but so and so wants to come back. And it may be somebody they've known in this lifetime, or it may be somebody they haven't met yet in this lifetime. And so they will communicate that. And again, the important thing here is it needs to be both in the animal's highest good to return as well as the humans, because
Mm,
they're not, it's not, I mean, they need to grow and evolve as a soul. They need to want to come back and have a mission, have a purpose as well, just like we do. It's not random. There's things we come to learn, ways to grow, things we want to give. And it seems to be the same for them. At least that's what I've learned.
lots of questions here. Let's start with one I feel that a lot of people ask, and they also ask it in regard to humans. On the other side, is the animal world over on the other side, wherever that is, whatever, is that like what humans experience? Are they connected with humans that have passed on the other side? What are they doing over there? It's really
That's a
good.
brilliant question, and a lot of people want to know. Of course they do. Now remember, there's so many different traditions about what the other side is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Right? From all these different cultures have very different viewpoints about what it is on the other side. What the animals have taught me, and again, this is just my experience, other people have different experiences, is that when they pass into the light, and the place they go, they refer to as the place of reunification. And the best way I can describe it is an ocean of unconditional love. It is the perfect divine love. And they merge into that ocean. But as I tell my clients all the time, if you walk into the ocean with a dropper in your fingers and you pull up a drop and look at it, you can see an individual drop, or, however you want to define drop, a bunch of little drop of water there in your in that dropper.
Hmm.
That's like the essence of your animal.
Wow.
She and he still hold their essential spirit, but as soon as you release the drop, it merges again within this beautiful ocean of unconditional love. But their consciousness, their awareness, and their connection to the people they love remains.
Hmm. I'm going to share something else here, and this is my this is all based on what you're saying, but this is my belief. And I've worked with psychics for decades. You know, insert name of psychic, I mean, legit ones. I'm not a psychic connoisseur. It just happened that way. I've seen, I've watched. Um, I'm skeptical. They're friends, but I'm still like, hey, don't know what's going on. I believe that when an animal or a human passes, their energy is still here. It's still around us. And
Mhm.
I don't know if I've ever shared, I get very specific signs from my mom, who passed the same year that Maestro did, all the time. I just ask. I'm going to laser this down to the last time, and this was a week and a half ago.
Huh?
I went to the store. My daughter wasn't feeling well, so I went to pick up some stuff at the grocery store, and I'm like, I'm going to get myself a treat. I never do that. I'm going to get myself a treat. So I walk by an end cap, and there's baked goods there. Entenmann's is the company, and my mom always loved raspberry Danish. And I always buy the raspberry Danish on her birthday as a remembrance. And I pass by and I'm like, whoa, they have it. You know what? Don't always have it. I'm getting it. That's going to be my treat. Walk out of the grocery store, get in my car, look to the right, and 8 feet away is a truck, an HVAC company. And it's called On the Truck. And I have a picture of it. I wish I could show it. It's not going to be clear. Rose Air is the name of the truck. My mom's name is Rose. So I'm like, oh, all right, Mom, thanks. Thanks for watching.
I
But this,
love it.
and this could be, oh, it's just a coincidence. Okay, I get it. I look down to start my car and I look at the clock. It's 9:42 p.m. My mom's phone number was 631-942, number. So for me, that's like final validation. You can't make that up. I want to punch holes in it. That is my proof, and that's one of many examples like that, that when somebody is gone, or an animal, the energy is still here. It hasn't gone away. What are your beliefs? What are your thoughts?
I would totally agree with you. The animals have also described it as we're not far, far away. We're not in some sky place or whatever.
Dimension,
We're
another
in,
dimension or whatever.
yes, we are in another dimension and but it is right here. It's right with us. But our frequency that we're vibrating at is way higher than this physical, than this one and the one that we had when we were in form, which is why we can't see it. We can sometimes feel it. And sometimes, depending upon where we are in our, just energetically, people do like see the cat or dog out of the corner of their eye and,
Mm-hmm.
that has passed. And they're like, I know I just saw him. Or they, I have lots of clients who talk about feeling them on the bed. So there are times where they can influence us in this dimension. And it is fascinating because there's technology that's getting more and more advanced that can actually capture visuals of beings in different dimensions.
Hmm.
It's pretty astounding. But
Wow.
we just saw a program the other day that they were doing this work in Sedona at this place where there's all kinds of energy, ley lines, and all kinds of stuff that goes on all the time. And they had this instrument that was able to. They looked kind of like stick figures, but it was able to tune to a different frequency and captured these beings moving around with the human beings, which didn't surprise me because the animals have told me about this parallel dimension or dimensions that they exist in. And so that is what I've learned. I agree that, they're not far, far away. And it's not, again, it's their energy, their essence. It's not
Mm.
that the physical being that they were, because again, they've been many physical beings.
So I gave a woo alert at the beginning of this segment. I'm going to retract that now because we have scientific proof. Um, and this is a hard question for you to answer. What do you think, in your experience, your feeling, your communication, what do you think is the percentage that the animals that we have are from another life? Or there's a reason they're here. They reincarnated, something's going on there. Do you think it's like, man, it's like 40% chance that that's happening? Well, no, that's an 80% chance that they're here for a reason connected to another life, or even like my situation where I think Maestro came back. And again, this is completely ballpark. I'm just kind of curious.
That's an interesting question. I've never thought of it that way. Because again, I can only go from my experience with my
Yes.
clients over many,
Yes.
many, many years. Boy, it's a toughie. But I will say that many, many animals, most indeed, are coming back with a purpose. That it may not be totally gelled yet,
Uh,
because here's a piece that I have to share. And that is also in my experience, animals, like people, are at different levels of conscious evolution. Okay. So, for example, if we look at a herd of zebra, let's say, there's a whole lot of interconnection between that herd, and that's the most important relationship for them, right? And they're not going to relate to a human being. They're not, a human being is mostly something you run away from, right? But animals who have become our companions, who have lived with us and around us, have done that many, many times. And so they're tuned in to learning with us, learning from us, and teaching. So some
mm.
animals come because they need healing, they need a rest. And I have a client who I teased her because she was like a lighthouse, and all these different animals who needed to be rescued kept showing up. And I kind
Uh,
of called it, you're the beacon. And she said, "Can I shut it off for a little while?" I said, "Yes, you can say, hold on. I have enough to handle that I'm helping." But those animals had been so wounded or so, neglected or abused or whatever, that they come to be healed. So sometimes they come to us for that purpose.
wow.
Other times they come to us to help us, as I mentioned, learn and grow and achieve, or achieve isn't the right word, be who we were born to be, who we came to be, to support us in that. And
Mm.
as I mentioned before, and this one's really important, help us find our way back to love, which is source. The divine, no matter who defines the divine, is love.
Highest
And so,
vibration there is.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I'm gonna repeat what you said and make sure. Tell me if I got this right. The animal's purpose, one of many, but maybe the fundamental, is to help us find our way back to love.
Yes,
Oh,
numero uno.
so thank you for all of that. And you said something that I miss. I don't really think of it this way, but animals always seem like they're here to serve us.
Mm.
Whatever it might be, unconditional love. You got, animals that help you out in the field, and whatever it might be. I never ever considered that they need us. They're here to heal too. I didn't even think of that.
And I do
Wow.
want to clarify, it's very important to notice there is a difference between serving us and serving the divine. They serve the divine first. They
Okay.
help us. Their service to us is a small s. Their service to the divine is a capital S. So it's very important because we have then an obligation to serve them back.
But many of us, all of us, have to heal. We've gone
Yes.
through, if you want to go, I talk about it all the time in podcasts, talk to a therapist, counselor, life coach, whatever it is, that, in our childhoods, we just experience things, and
Yep.
we internalize it, and that pilots us in our adult life. And, there's things that we need to heal from to better pilot through life.
Absolutely.
Is that the way it is for animals too?
They are learning and growing as well. It isn't exactly the same. Again, this is just my experience. They are learning and growing, but they don't have all these layers of crap that we do. I mean, I will say dogs will take on more stuff, and dogs will often need to be cleared between lifetimes. That's work that
Yeah.
I have done to
Mm.
help them get rid of any baggage they've taken. Cats usually don't take crap on. Horses do sometimes. and they will hold a trauma from the past, say if some like they were killed in a fire or something or drowned, and I've worked to help with them to help clear that in this lifetime. So, but all these layers of lessons that humans need to learn happily, they're not burdened with all that crap.
Hmm. Maybe that's why we feel so good around them because personally, like you said, the woman was a lighthouse. I'm the anxiety magnet. People with anxiety come to me. Like, no, no, I don't want to be a therapist anymore. I'm empathetic. I get it. I want to help you. But after a while, the energy just can weigh you down.
Oh, yeah, it's tough.
It seems that they don't take that on so much. They don't, that's not their thing.
No, and like I said, though, dogs can, and that's an energetic thing. Cats are really good at taking stuff and keeping it kind of out here, right?
Hmm.
Massaging it and releasing it, whereas dogs will often have to take it into their bodies and work with it. And that's how they end up having some problems. But often, as I think we talked about before, if an animal is manifesting an illness and it's a chronic one, keeps repeating, very often I will find when I talk with the person and their animal that they both have the same issue. And the person says, "Oh, please tell him to stop taking on my stuff." And I say, "Well, I can't. I might as well ask him to stop breathing. But if you work on your ulcer, I think we talked about ulcers, if you work on it yourself, you're going to take that. He won't have to do that for you. He can work on his healing. He'll have more energy for himself because he knows you're actually doing the work to heal you." So that's the experience I've had with people sharing a problem, a physical problem with their animal because their animal wants to lighten their load. Absolutely.
Wow. You just brought back, or you brought to light. It's not about me, by the way, people. It's just like I'm using it as example. But I had another cat decades ago, and he was maybe 9, and he developed a tumor on his chin, and
Mm.
cancerous, and then that took him out. And I just thought it was so odd. Like, why? Like, but and I'm trying to remember what his life was like before. He was a rescue, but it wasn't, I don't think he went through a horrible life. However, my relationship I was in at that time wasn't a great one. And he passed away, at the kind of beginning of the bad relationship situation. And then now I'm wondering if he was taking things on and that may have, over time, maybe, yeah, he developed that. I don't know. You're just making
He
me
might
think.
have.
Might have.
No, it is very common, but it's gotten kind of muddled because animals like us are now so exposed to so much,
Yeah.
so much, from EMFs to plastics to toxins to, so
Mm,
much crap. So it isn't cut and dry a lot of
get
times.
it. Yeah.
But if an animal wants to take it on and can't, and it gets stuck somewhere, it will manifest in a
That's
physical.
wow. You're amazing. And by the way, I'm going to share with you. Ever since I met you, every time I see a creature, doesn't matter what it is. It could be an iguana. It could be a squirrel. I try to communicate with it. I try to
Oh,
send it, you know, either reassurance or whatever it might be. I don't even know I'm doing it sometimes. It's almost like a human that I'm having a communication, a conversation with them. It's like, and I love it.
oh, I'm so glad, Steve. That warms my heart because we all can make that connection. It's about that being conscious and aware, and all beings are energy and they appreciate it,
Yeah.
whether they show it or not, that we are sending love or sending, well, hello, aren't you adorable? Or hello, wow, you're big, but you're acknowledging their presence, whether they show it or not. They feel that kind energy. So
I'm
keep it
gonna.
up.
I have a mantra that I've adopted in the past couple of years based on my journey, and I'm going to abridge it with our conversation. It is love everyone, trust few. Wish I didn't have to say that, but that's my experience. Trust few, always do the right thing for all. I'm going to bridge that to love every, love everyone and everything, and that be the animals. Thank you.
Absolutely. It's
Th-
beautiful.
Thank you for today. Thank you for all the insight. Thank you for the clarification, validation, and all of this. And this is just a piece of what you do. The communication with in spirit and not. And you show people how to do this too. How do we find you?
just go to my website, which is my name, katesolisti.com. Everything's there that helps you connect with me, reconnect perhaps with me. And I can share many, many things there with you. So would love to be there for, answer questions and help you connect deeper with the animals you love and the wild ones. They need us
Yes.
and we need them.
Thank you for today, and thank you for what you do. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Steve. It's been so much fun.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.